Let's get spelling. Pull up my whiteboard. You guys ready? We're going to learn some great things today. Why do I do that? I should just pull up this screen. Eventually I'll learn. All right, our first word that we're doing today is going to look like this. Okay. The rules that you have to know for this word are the tap 2 rule. This letter is going to have the tap 2 rule applied. And since there is another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots, you know that this is going to be a long vowel sound. So the rule is you spell a long vowel sound with just a single letter if you can. And you can spell it with just a single letter if there's another vowel 1 or 2 doors down, which there is. So this is going to be just a single letter. You only need a vowel team if the next 2 letters are consonants, because then that puts a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. Next rule. S. S can, oh, well, there's an S in that spot. I just gave you the answer, but that's okay. S can have 2 sounds. It can sound like a S or it can sound like a Z. So if you hear Z, Z is in very few words. Extremely rare to use a Z in spelling. It's almost always going to be spelled with an S sound. S can make the Z sound as a vibrating sound if the letter before it or after it is also vibrating. So if you hear a Z sound, it is most likely going to be spelled with a S. Almost always. Confident rule. The confident rule is when you hear I in the middle, syllable. If it's in the middle, syllable. So there's a vowel after it that doesn't touch it and a vowel before it that doesn't touch it. That means it's in the middle syllable. It can break the tap 2 rule. It can say I without 2 consonants after it. So if you hear I in the middle syllable, like right here, you don't need 2 consonants after it because the confident rule. It just is allowed to say I, even without 2 consonants after it. Next rule. I is a doozy, isn't it? So I is allowed to make the E, and it usually will. It will make the E sound if the next letter is a vowel. If it's toward the end of a multisyllable word, like right here. So if you hear an E sound and there's a vowel right after it, and it's at the end of a longer word right here, that E sound is usually spelled with an I. Okay? One more rule, my friends. The last rule that you need to know is kind of a combination. CE. CE is a common ending of words that make the S sound. There's a couple reasons. Well, this E is making the C make it soft sound. So that's why that E is there, is to make the C make it soft sound. But CE is used at the end of words a lot to spell the S sound because they don't want to put an S there because that makes it mean more than one. That'll make it plural. So usually, often, at the end of, especially in multisyllable words, it's going to be spelled with a CE. Okay, are you ready? I should have left all those rules up there. Next time I will. Your word is resilience. Resilience. Take your time, put it in a Q&A. Resilience. Resilience. Good. Resilience ends with an S sound. Take your time. And if you can't spell all the sounds, spell as many sounds as you can. Resilience. Resilience. Oh, so close, so close. And it ends with a S. Resilience. You guys are getting this though. You're remembering so many of those rules that I just told you, and I didn't even write them down. You're just remembering them. I mean, I didn't leave them up on the board. Resilience. Okay. You ready for me to spell it? Gorgeous, Teresa. Don't worry, don't worry. This one's a doozy. Okay, let's do our consonants first, always. E, Z. There's that Z sound spelled with an S because the letter before it is or after it is a vowel. And vowels vibrate. They make their vibrating sound. They're always vibrating. And so this S is also going to make its vibrating sound, which sounds like a Z. E, Z, I, O, E, N, S. Now instead of an S here, I'm going to put a CE. CE often spells the S sound at the end of words. Okay, now we're ready for our vowels. Re. E spells the E sound, especially its long sound, especially if there's another vowel in the next one or two spots. That's the tap 2 rule. And vowel will say its name, make its long sound, if there's another vowel one or two doors down. Re-zi, I. I spells I, and it doesn't need two L's after it because it's in the middle syllable. I spells I, and it doesn't need two L's after it because it's in the middle syllable. That's the confident rule. E. If I hear E toward the end of a multisyllable word, I'm going to spell it with an I because there's another vowel right after it, and that vowel is E. And this E can spell the S sound just fine because there are two consonants after it. Resilience. Resilience. Now take a look at it. And then if you happened to not spell it correctly, I'm going to give you a few seconds here to study it and then spell it correctly in the Q&A. I'm going to erase it. Okay, so look at it. Resilience. In 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and put it in the Q&A. Resilience. You heard it, a lot of people heard a T at the end, Mia, not just you. I got a lot of resilient. That's just because it's a word. Your subconscious might have heard resilient instead of resilience. Look at that, you guys, that's amazing. Okay, moving on, next word. This word, I'm gonna scoot this up because I'm gonna leave the rules written down so you can see them. Okay, this word has a wh. When you hear wh, you spell it with a WH. So this equals the wh sound. Okay, it's just backwards. It sounds like this, spelled like this. This has the tap 2 rule. You study the tap 2 rule every week, so I'm not going to write that one down. But if you hear a short vowel sound, it's going to be spelled with just a single vowel if there are two consonants after it. And there already are two after it, so you don't have to double anything. This has the confident rule again, which is when you hear an I in the middle syllable, you don't have to double the next letter. It's just spelled with an I. Okay, now this rule is when you hear toward the end of a multisyllable word, is the schwa sound represented by an upside down E. When you hear toward the end of a multisyllable word and the last letter is an L, it's going to be spelled with an A. So when you hear toward the end of a multisyllable word and the last letter is an L, That sound is going to be spelled with an A. Your word is whimsical. Whimsical. Go ahead. Whimsical. Gorgeous. Whimsical. Good, Maria. And I like how everybody is putting a C right here. It is a C. Most words don't have a K in them. C is the most common way to spell the K sound. Whimsical. Gorgeous, Beverly. Give me one more letter. Two more letters, Catherine. Actually, one more, and then just switch your C in your I, Catherine. Good, Danielle. Give me one more letter, Sheldon, at the very beginning. Whimsical. Gorgeous, Joseph. So it might be hard to hear this sound if it's an I or an eh. It's an I, like itchy, igloo. Okay, inside. This is an I. Gorgeous, Teresa. Julie, ooh, just that one tiny little tweak and you'll have it. Okay, so our consonants. Here's that spelled with a WH. I, Z, kind of sounding like a Z again. That's because that M vibrates, so does this I. Here's our confident rule. I in the middle syllable gets to say I, even if there aren't two consonants after it. The K sound is almost always spelled with a C. And here's all at the end, spelled A-L. This is making the schwa sound. Whim. Oh, there's our vowel, I. Tap 2 rule. The next two letters are consonants, so it gets to say its short sound. Whimsical. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to spell resilience again and whimsical. Try not to look at resilience either up in the chat or in your notes. I'm going to ask you to spell it in just a second after you get a chance to look at whimsical. Study that and then prepare to spell it in 3, 2, 1. So spell resilience. Resilience. Gorgeous, Beverly. Nice. Beautiful. Perfect. After you spell resilience, spell whimsical. Whimsical. Good. Good, Mia. Good. Resilience and whimsical. Gorgeous. Okay. You did it. Nice job, Carrie. Resilience and whimsical. Okay. Next word. This spelling is a short vowel sound. Let me hear how. I might rethink this word. I'm just gonna tell you what's going on here. So I'm gonna explain what's happening with this EA. EA can say 3 different things, really more than that, but 3 most common things. And it will say, in this order, E as in clean, E as in breath, and great as in great. This is the most common, this is the second most common, and this is the third most common. So in this word, it's going to say number 2. It's going to say E. The S sound is going to be spelled with an EA. Okay? Now when you hear us at the end of a multi-syllable word, it is usually the suffix OUS. You don't hear the O, you just hear the U, but it's spelled OUS is how you spell the suffix us. So this OU right here, I'm giving you like big juicy hints for this word, but that's okay. I'll set you up for success. This OU is going to go on one line because we're doing sounds, not letters. And then the S would go right here. So your word is zealous. Zealous. I made that one a little too easy, I think, but hopefully that's okay. zealous. And this Z sound is actually spelled with a Z. Nice. Zealous. Yeah. Good. Nice, Maria. Good, Julie. Yep, Sarah. Good, Mia. That is one way to spell it, Danielle. And I was just going to say, I'll talk about that in a minute. That is, I love that you knew that it could have two L's right there if it was just an E. But this word has an EA in it, so you don't need the two L's. Gorgeous. So here our consonants are Z, L, S. This E is spelled with an EA. The is spelled with an OU. Zealous. Now, somebody knew that it could have been spelled this way, and that is 100% correct. And I love that she knew that if it was just an E here, you would have needed those two L's. But since there's only one consonant here, then in order for this to make it short sound, you have to have a vowel team. And so this EA spells the E sound. All right, next. Spell the word in the comments, resilience, for me. Resilience. Resilience. Maria, not really. Spelling is a lot more difficult than reading. Resilience, good. Now spell whimsical. Whimsical. And then spell zealous. 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 Good. Okay, last word. Last word. The only thing you need to know besides the tab 2 rule is that ER spells the sound when it's in its own syllable. So, I'm going to put it in for you. It's actually spelling it's R can be a vowel sound if you can believe that. But I want you to try the rest of this on your own. The word is flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. All you need is the tab 2 rule. Oh, gotcha, Beverly. So that OU is so we're spelling sounds. The OU is just spelling the sound. And then the S spells the S sound. So each line represents a sound. And us, even though it's a single suffix, we still have to spell each sound. So the OU gets one line and the S gets one line. So our word is flabbergasted. Nice. Excellent. Lovely. Good. Gorgeous. You need one more letter, Beverly, to make the A make it short sound. So our consonants are F, O, A, B, G, A, S, T, E, D. Now, in order for this A to say A, it must have two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. In order for this A to say A, it must have two consonants after it. It already does. In order for this E to say it's short sound, it can't have a vowel in the next one or two spots. It has to be either two consonants or a consonant and then the end of the word. So this is how you spell flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. All right, now if you want to, spell the word resilience, whimsical, zealous, and flabbergasted in the Q&A. Just one last time. Really get those rules sunk into your brain. resilience, whimsical, zealous, and flabbergasted. Resilience, whimsical, zealous, and flabbergasted. That is gorgeous spelling right there. Amazing. I love it. Beautiful. I have a feeling that you spelled those a lot better and a lot easier at the end of this 30 minutes than 30 minutes ago. That's because you made the time to come to class today. All of that you powered through, and all of those nerve pathways, they made connections from the beginning of that teaching to the end of it. When you repeated it and you repeated applying those spelling patterns that you learned, they sunk deeper and deeper. And so that at the end of class, you were spelling those words easier than you would have at the beginning because you understood what was happening. And that repetition is just making the knowledge stick firmer and more long-term. All right, my friends, you're amazing. See you either in the next class on right now or on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.